Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday weather outlook for the southern region brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, the story that's playing out here in the upper levels is one we've been talking about all week, and it features two main troughs that are kind of anchoring the western half of North America here. The first one is sitting right in through this area, and the second one is here just off the west coast. And it's the trough that you see right in through here that by the end of the day today will be kind of completely cut off from the upper level flow. And what I mean by that is that the stronger winds are going to go right over the top and connect in through here, pinching this low off and allowing it to slowly progress over the next 3 days here across our southern region. And it's going to be a major precipitation producer, especially as you get east of the Mississippi River and south of parts of the mid-Atlantic. And so let's take a look at what we're anticipating out of this system. First things first, it is already starting to draw in some of that moisture and some of that heat. This was 5:30 a.m. this morning. You can see right now this corridor in through here responding to the position of that trough. Remember, it's doing something like this in the upper levels. And we will be bringing in some above average temperatures at times, but remember, it's going to be accompanied with a lot of rainfall and also some cloud cover. So this isn't as though this is going to be pleasantly warm across our southern region as the system comes through. So this is what we're anticipating. This just looks out all the way until Monday evening. So this is kind of our 4-day forecast here. And we can see that initially we do get some precipitation in parts of eastern Texas and southern Texas, but the real show begins as the low takes shape right down here and really blankets much of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina with a lot of heavy rainfall, Florida included. Now, as you get north, it's going to be quite tricky to predict the northern extent of this precipitation. I can zoom in here and kind of show you what we are anticipating in terms of amounts, though. And you can see widespread 2, 3, and maybe in some locations where these bands of rain kind of overlay one another with time, we could be getting up over 4 inches of rainfall. But like I said, the northern edge is going to be the most tricky extent of this system to forecast. And different models have different simulations here. I think the European has been the model showing the least variance run to run on where that northern edge of the precipitation is going to be. But in parts of the Appalachian Mountains here, I think we're going to get some enhancement of the precipitation into this corridor that may prove to be producing some flooding conditions in those areas. In fact, we should start to see widespread flood watches issued for this whole region as we move into the end of our week here from the National Weather Service. Now, what this is going to do to our overall water picture, well, we're not going to be doing much in terms of taking care of some of the drought we have in Texas here, nor in this region, but I think this is all going to be gone after this system goes through. These two regions are going to have to wait until next week when the pattern gets more active over those areas before we start to see some relief in the longer-term drought picture here. So let's take a look at the timing of this system just to make sure we've got it down pat, and then we'll see what's going to be happening after this. So pause it right here. This gets you through the start of your weekend, so we can see that as we progress. I'm just stepping back here through the day on Friday, maybe just a narrow corridor here as this upper level low begins to get cut off, that we could get some lighter rain. So watch right in through here in this area. As we press forward, this is now Saturday morning. This is when the real show begins. Look around New Orleans here and into Mississippi. So as we go from Saturday morning into the afternoon and evening, this is when the heaviest rain begins to blanket parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, such that by the time Sunday morning rolls around, we've got very heavy rain right here along the coast, widespread rain across much of the rest of those 3 states I just mentioned. And we're starting to move into South Carolina midday Sunday. As we get into Sunday afternoon and evening, getting into Monday morning here, now we've got widespread rain that moves through the Carolinas back into Tennessee, and the northern edge of it could stretch into parts of Virginia and Kentucky right in through here. So that looks to be the northern extent. We will be getting some very strong winds out of this system. This is a pretty tight low pressure system here in terms of the gradient of pressure around it, and therefore I'm anticipating as I stretch all the way here to Monday evening, getting into early Tuesday morning, for this to be a very windy few days here. Now remember, after that cutoff low goes through, we then build into a larger ridge pattern. So there's the trough out west and a broad ridge that moves over the rest of the country. And as a result, the warm-up begins as we progress toward Christmas. And on Christmas, we're watching a very weak little low that kind of might move into parts of Iowa, but being to the south of it, we're going to get some southerly winds coming out of this. And wait until I show you these temperatures. I'm pretty excited to show you what your temperatures are going to look like on these days. Now I'm going to go ahead and let this operational model run take you out past this time period and get you into the next time I think that the south starts to see some adverse weather. It's not going to be until Friday into Saturday of next week that trough finally moves here through the four corner states, and then things start to light up right in this area. So it looks as though after system number 1 goes through, parts of the southeast, we may enjoy much of the rest of next week relatively dry. It may not be until next Saturday before we start to see a larger, more organized low pressure system moving through, well, parts of the south central part of the U.S. So just to show you that again, after this system leaves, this region down here will probably have 5 days of drier weather. So after we get it out of here early Tuesday morning, all the way through next Saturday morning, it looks like we're going to have some drier weather. It is at that point that the trough that's been plaguing California dips now here. And again, you know I talk about this all the time. It's always between a trough and a ridge. Trough here, ridge sitting over here, that we get very, very active weather. And you can see it better if I just show you those upper level winds. This is on Christmas Eve in the evening, and you can see the flow patterns doing this. So this is where the warm up really comes in for much of our southern region. But this is the trough we're going to watch slowly progress here, such that by the end of next week, it's now hitting the south central part of the United States. And that's what I'm showing you here. See the trough in its position? A ridge still over the southeast, but now it's this corridor that's really going to get lit up with great upper level divergence, and that's what we refer to as upper level support for the development of low pressure systems. And then I'll show you, once we get into the month of January, I have a feeling that January is going to be a very active month for many of us here across the southern region, because the jet stream continues to favor a deeper trough in the upper levels sitting somewhere over the North Pole. And if we get flow that's a bit blocked up here in the Gulf of Alaska, that's going to continue just to bring trough after trough after trough sweeping through the midsection of the country. Now we got a ways to go before we get there, but this is what I think we're going to be featuring. And what's helping it is the larger ridge here in the North Atlantic. So it looks as though January is going to set up with an active pattern. I'll show you more about that in just a few seconds. But to put week 2 into full perspective, you can see the corridor over which we're expecting to get above average precipitation. And again, it's because the flow of the jet stream is doing something like this now, sweeping troughs through the four corner states, and that's when we light up this particular area. Now take a look at what our temperatures are going to do. Here's our high temperatures today on Friday. So you see a lot of widespread 50s and lower 60s through our southern region. But as I play this one forward for you, as we get into the day on Saturday, here we go. There's Saturday's highs. Look at the rebounding warmth out west. Ready? Sunday's high temperatures. Monday, Christmas Eve. Yeah, look at that. Widespread 60s and in a lot of locations lower 70s. And on Christmas Day, what a beautiful day across the southern region here. Look at this. I am very jealous of what you will be getting here during this time. Even though I'll be up here possibly hitting around 50, this is still going to be a beautiful day. So as we get toward the end of that week, this is now Thursday, next Thursday, you can see still we're hanging on to that warmth, but more adverse weather coming in, like I said, on that Saturday. So this would be next Saturday. Okay, what do our temperatures look like overall? Well, this is just the day 5 through day 10 time period. I think we understand that because the trough is really hanging out back here, a lot of widespread warmth across much of our southern region. And getting out here at the beginning of January, this is where things start to moderate. So remember, we see the pattern wanting to do this quite a bit, and that is one that sets things up to be quite active. What's helping this along? Well, in the tropics, remember we've been talking about this all week, the MJO is finally coming out of phases 1 and 2 where it's been stuck because of the Indian Ocean dipole, keeping it there. As it emerges here, it appears it's going to come out somewhere in phase 6, 7, and 8. Now remember, for us in the southern region, phases 3, 4, 5, and 6, these are the warmer phases of the MJO, and this is one of the most dominant features in the tropics now, and our colder phases are 7, 8, 1, and 2. And remember that this MJO phase change comes out and it moves in a counterclockwise direction with time. And a lot of times we say that it takes about a month to 6 weeks to do a complete circle through all the phases. So this is why I think January might potentially be quite active for us. And the long-range model runs, which were just released last night, suggest that's the case. What I'm looking at here is precipitation anomalies as forecast by the European model using the European weeklies here, looking at January 1st through February 1st. So this does not include the rainfall we're getting this weekend. And again, I come back to the same story that I've been telling. I think we're going to see a jet stream that splits out west and does something like this. So if you are interested in where this is going to produce a lot of snow, you want to take a vacation, head toward the north and east, or you can head out west where we're expecting quite a bit of snow as well out of this system, or this setup. So I'm seeing some further support in the forecast I've been producing for a while in this split jet stream flow at times, and that's going to target the southeast. So we'll research it over the weekend, present to you some new information on Monday, and hope you all have a great end to your week and weekend. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.